Hey, horror fans. Yes, once again, it is the Horror Miser Monty G. Yes, it's time to do another movie review. It's time to review the movie Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Now, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is a 2019 horror movie. It was directed by Andre Overdahl, produced by Guillermo del Toro. It was written by David and Kevin Hageman. This is based upon a series of short story books that was written by Charles Alvin Schwartz. This stars Zoe Colletti, Michael Garza, Gabriel Russ, and Austin Zajar. I think I pronounced his name right. Now, I did not read any of these books because by the time they came out, I was too old for them. I think it was probably like maybe 17 years old. But I guess after the success with Goosebumps in that movie, so they decided to let's make another horror movie based on a children's story book, children's stories. And here we go. So let's see what I have to see, and if is scary stories really are scary. A group of teens must face their fears in order to save their lives when they actually release an evil spirit hidden in a book of short horror stories. Yeah, finally got it. Now, similar to Goosebumps, as I stated earlier, I was too old when scary story books came out. With the success of the Goosebumps movie, we now have another horror film based upon a series of children's horror books. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So, can the imagination of Guillermo del Toro and director Andre Overdahl, who did, I think it was Troll Hunter and The Autopsy of Jane Doe, can those two guys bring their imagination and the direction style together and actually bring these scary stories to life on the big screen? Well, the answer to that question is a resounding yes. Now, what Del Toro and Overdahl have done is they have crafted an intelligent, dark, and creepy story while combining some of the stories that Alvin Schwartz wrote in those books. We have some excellent creature designs along with a dark and creepy house and a creepy backstory to go with it. Now, of course, this film does have a Stranger Things vibe to it, but we do have some decent acting from Zoe Collette. And despite the fact that there's no blood and gore, because that's what you expect, because this is based upon a children's book, we do get some decent kills as well. I really enjoyed this film. This was a fun, dark, and creepy horror story I enjoyed very much, and I think you guys will too. Now, taking place on Halloween night in 1968 in a town called Mill Valley, Pennsylvania, we have Stella Nichols along with her good friends Augie and Chuck, along with draft dodger Ramon. They head over to the haunted house that most of these small towns has that once belonged to the Bellows, a family that actually put the Mill Valley on the map. Now, after being trapped in the house by the town bully Tommy, Stella finds a book that belongs to Sarah Bellows. It's supposed to be the legend says it that she actually told scary stories to children, and now she has these books and is also supposed to haunt the house. Now, after sincerely getting out of the house, strange shit starts to happen to Stella and her friends, and the book starts happening to write all these stories to themselves, and involves all the people who are in the Bellows house. Now that includes Stella, Augie, Chuck, Ramon, Tommy, and I believe Chucky's sister. She was also in the house. Now all of a sudden, this weird shit starts to happen. Now Stella and her friends must solve the mystery involving Stella and the book of scary stories before their worst fears will kill them. Now, first of all, you have to give screenwriters Dan and Kevin Hageman credit on how they incorporate some of the scary stories from the book. Yeah, it does start off with the typical haunted house with a mystery cliche, but I actually love how they added the stories using the tortured soul of Sarah Bellows, who told scary stories to children, as explained by Stella. Then they used these stories along with the kids' worst nightmares to attack them, and also having the stories write themselves that include the kids' names in the stories. I thought there was a clever way to add some of the stories from Alan Schwartz's book and put them in this movie. Somewhat was similar to what the filmmakers did for Goosebumps. Now, you could tell that Del Toro had some input in the creature designs as they look and sound creepy and frightening, especially the Jangling Man. I think he's the best of the bunch. They're weird looking, they're creepy, they're really contorted shapes. There's one, the big toe creature, when she's about to get into Augie's house and she has this creepy voice, "Where is my big toe?" And it creeps you out. And I thought that was a nice way how they incorporated how those creatures look. Now, similar to what in the autopsy to Jane Doe, Overall does a great job in creating creepy interiors and exterior shots. From the haunted house to the cornfield, even the mental hospital, they all have excellent atmosphere before the monsters appear. You know something bad is going to happen. Unfortunately, so do the kids, and there's really nothing they can do to stop it. You know, there is dark and danky haunted house. Even in Augie's house, before the big toe, before the dead guy, for the dead woman, starts screaming in his house is set up very nicely in the darkened room, and even though there's light in there, you can see the atmosphere is just creepy looking, and everything is set up white. I think the best shot is the mental ward when Chuck and his fear with the fat lady in the room. It's all bright red and nice colors, and the whiteness pale of how she I guess what I'm trying to say is how she looks. Everything is bright red and she's white, and how it looks is just really crazy looking. It's all creepy looking, and there's some shots that he does all around, and you feel sorry for some of these kids in this room right there. I mean, it's all creepy looking, especially when Regina, Chucky's sister, when the spiders come out of her whatchamacallit, it's all filled with spiders. Very good way of how Dahl set this up, and great cinematography. I like everything what he does direction-wise in this film. Now, Zoe Colletti, I believe she did a good job as Stella. We do feel sorry for her as we learn more about her backstory. Something happened with her mother, and she sort of blames herself. Along with Gabriel Rush as Augie and Austin Sajara as Chucky, the three of them have great chemistry together. Obviously, despite the Stranger Things vibe that we feel throughout the movie. I mean, it's right at the beginning of the film. Gabriel, Augie and Chuck were riding their bicycles, and at first you're thinking about, oh well, we got Stranger Things going on here. But I think despite that, all three actors do a pretty good job as well. Zoe also has good chemistry with Michael Garza, who plays Ramon. You can feel the attraction between them when they first meet, and you can hope that all three of them, or all four of them, can survive the horror that's coming from these stories. Now, the only fault I find in this film is the mystery involving Sarah Bellows. Once we get the backstory about her family and the secrets that they were keeping, it simply turned into a semi-Scooby-Doo mystery. Well, unfortunately, in this one, it actually involves a real ghost instead of a person that's dressed up as one. And we don't get the typical "I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids" cliche as well. But that's one of the old faults that I have for this film. It's the typical, obviously something happened to her. There's a secret that she's keeping. I'm pretty sure most of the people here know what I'm talking about there. That's the only kind of fault I find with the film. It doesn't detract from the film. I just felt it's just a typical cliche. Also, if you're expecting any blood and gore in this film, don't. Because despite the creepy looking monsters, there's none of that in here. This is a fair warning to gorehounds. Yeah, there's people that do die in this film. There's something that happens to some people in this film, but there's no blood. This is not for you. This is a PG-13 horror movie. It's mainly, I believe, their target audience is probably more like the 10 to 15-year-olds. If you are a parent and this is something you want to introduce your children to horror for, I believe this is a good movie to take them to, because they're not going to see a lot of blood and gore. So despite the kind of cliche plot that we have here, I thought this was a pretty good, and it was a pretty good, fun, creepy, and pretty good, exciting horror picture. Like I said, this is a great opportunity to introduce your kids to the world of horror, because it's not bloody and gore. And like I said before, Zoe Colletti and everyone else does a fine job of it as well. I think it's a very highly entertaining horror movie. So, the Horror Miser is going to open up his vote. And I'm going to give Scary Story to Tell in the Dark 3 out of my 5 gold coins. Yes, going to give it 3 out of my 5 gold coins. Yes, for it does what it's supposed to do. It's creepy, it's dark, you have great looking monsters. This is coming from a children's book, so I thought they did a pretty good job for it, despite the fact of no blood and gore. So, my horror fans, what do you think about Scary Stories? Did you enjoy this picture? Did you get a kick out of it? Do you think it's just boring and they got to stop making horror movies based on children's books? Leave your comments down in the comment section below and tell me what you thought about Scary Story to Tell in the Dark. Well, that's my video for today, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. That way you can come and enjoy the horror experience with me, the Horror Miser Monty G. As always, my social media links will be in the description box below as well. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G. And always remember, rules. Buffalo Bill, take us home. We're out.
Put the fucking lotion in the basket!